Morning. Morning. I'm not fully awake yet and everything's annoying me.
It is. The plates are annoying him.
Well, it's the way you put them back in the cupboard, Paul, because every time I walk past the cupboard, the plates jingle. Jingle, jingle, jiggle, jiggle, wiggle.
I thought that was quite a nice little sound.
Well, considering most of the plates, Paul, you have chipped by you just throwing them into the cupboard when you put them away.
I do not throw them into the cupboard.
You may as well just smash them all before you put them in the cupboard.
I will do that then. I'll be a little bit of a Greek person.
And it's not as though they're cheap. They're Denby.
They are Denby, yeah.
Yeah, and we've had them for 20 years.
We have, yeah.
So just feel free to chip some more.
Okay,
Chip all the mugs.
I will. Yeah.
I know you will because you already have.
Yeah. See, it's all my fault today.
Everything is Paul's fault.
It is, yeah.
But anyway, just a quick one today.
Yeah.
Because we've got shit to do and my CBA syndrome has kicked in. Have you noticed more and more people are using the term CBA?
I am.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, well,
I was the first one to drop that term, I think you'll find.
Yeah.
It's like TMI. I started TMI.
Yeah, too much information.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It was me.
Aww.
Anywho, welcome to the bloody show. Welcome, bloody, thank you, bloody welcomes, everything and all.
Everywhere.
To all of those of you in the universe.
Marvellous.
Whichsoever. Where am I?
Yeah, you haven't got your page open.
The book's
yet.
not working.
Yeah, that's my fault too.
Yeah, you touched it.
I moved it from there to there and now the book has stopped working.
Exactly. You didn't put the marker in, Paul, on the page.
Well, it was already shut. So why should I have to do that? Yeah.
Shush now, Paul. God. So, welcomes, thank you, it's all great.
Is it?
Now, I want to say thank you, big thank you to those of you who joined me on the Friday live show at 6 p.m. every Friday, unless we're doing something else, in which case I'll let you know. I will. I'm also annoyed because my hair needs a wash. And I've not had time to do it.
Well, you have had time to do it.
No, I haven't.
You've been doing that for a while, so you could have stopped.
Yeah, but I was doing that.
That.
Shush now, Paul. We've only got half an hour before the camera blows up.
Yeah.
So, thank you for a great live show. It was superb. I was on for just over an hour and we really enjoyed ourselves, didn't we?
You did, and you used up the battery time, didn't you? Yeah.
No, because I was using the tablet.
Oh yeah, he was using your tablet.
Don't try and be clever, Paul.
No,
I'm
not going to try and be clever. No.
So we usually kick off. I'm quite warm as well. I've just realised I've still got my hoodie on and I've just been doing some housework. And that's how I feel this morning. I've had coffee. That's why.
Yeah.
Why did you make me drink coffee, Paul?
Out of the wrong cup.
Out of the wrong cup. There we are.
I chose the wrong cup. Yeah.
I'm obviously hormonal.
Yeah.
Mercury's retrograde as well. Blaming that on you too.
Yeah. I spun it around. Yeah.
In the wrong direction.
Yeah. It's all my fault.
So Richard and Paul's weather report is what we normally kick off with. So we are going to kick off with that, aren't we? Yeah, I'm going to kick you off in a minute.
It is warm-ish. Getting to very hot during the afternoon, but very blustery. And that blustery wind is quite chilling. It really is. When I went down to the plot earlier in the week with the sun blazing down, I got to the plot and the wind going across was so cold, I thought, actually, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to come straight back. So I did. I did some watering. Then I couldn't go on, so I just came back. So, yeah.
Wall-to-wall sunshine,
Yeah.
as far as we can tell. We also, before you start wittering on even further, we need to make sure we leave breaks, Paul. There we are, we left a break. That's so YouTube can identify a convenient break to put an ad break in, because that's what it's doing nowadays for you.
Yeah.
putting them in for the user.
Yeah, so in the creator doesn't do that anymore. YouTube decides where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So in they go.
Yeah.
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 Hey-ho. So next week is going to continue being sunny.
Yeah.
And we haven't had any significant rain for quite some time now.
No,
And
that's a little bit worrying.
It is. We were. I was in the Dell for Earth's Sake in the Great Green Barn the other day, and that ground was dry and cracking. We were at Kew Gardens. There were areas that were dry and cracking, and even at the allotment, which is right next to the river or a river. Again, there's areas that are cracking. Not on my plot, but on the site there are.
So there could be a drought, but nobody's mentioning that yet.
Nobody's mentioning it yet, but I think it was the driest and warmest. I think it was the driest March on record, and it was the warmest for quite some time.
It was the sunniest March.
Yeah, and it's the sunniest March. Yeah. So, yeah, we're going into that period.
Lovely. Lovely, Paul. Thank you. You were talking about For Earth's Sake in the Great Green Barn. Did you go down this week, Paul?
I did.
Yes, you did.
I did. I went down for a couple of meetings. We were meeting with a couple who are going to do a lino cut and a wood cut crafting session later in the year, which they were really lovely. And I'm looking forward to getting all the information that we need from them so that we can get that event on sale. And then we also met up with Georgios of the Life Goddess in Store Street in London, and various people from the Greek Tourist Board over here and other sort of high up Greek people, because there's going to be a big Greek day in June at the Great Green Barn and in the gardens of the Great Green Barn and For Earth's Sake, and in the Dell area, which is where we have summer theatre from the Man in the Moon Theatre Company. So it was a really interesting meeting, looking at what they wanted to get out of the day, and therefore how best to run the day so that they got everything out of it. So yeah, it was a good day. More on that when we get things confirmed.
And of course I will be going down with Paul within the next few weeks to do more filming.
Absolutely.
For the Great Green Barn and For Earth's Sake.
Yeah,
so
for
look
Earth's
out
Sake.
for that. And if you want to look at any of the shorts that I've created, have a look at our shorts playlist.
It did confuse
Can I
me.
link to the shorts playlist here?
Most probably,
Probably.
yeah. It did confuse me in yesterday's live when somebody said that they were enjoying your shorts, because I just imagined you in little shorts.
No, I never wear shorts.
Yeah, I do. I have my chunky hobbit legs and hobbit feet sticking out of my shorts.
I've never enjoyed wearing shorts.
You used to do the cleaning in shorts.
I've never enjoyed wearing shorts, although I do quite enjoy wearing a sarong.
Yeah, he does.
Now and then.
And then tripping over it.
Oh, shush now, Paul. Never tripped over a sarong in my life. Anyway, lovely. So we're now in awful April.
Why is it awful?
Awful April.
Why?
Awful. It's April. It's awful. Because of all the price rises. Gas, electric, water, council tax,
mobile phone bills, telecommunication bills, all of that. Yeah, TV
licenses going up.
TV license.
Although I've seen a lot online about people simply refusing to pay the TV license now for years.
Right. Okay.
They just get away with it.
Well, fine. You know, if you want to do that, you do that. That's your bag. You get on with your bag. I get on with my bag.
People are rebelling.
I listen a lot to Radio 4. I listen a lot to the podcasts and the drama on the BBC. We watch a number of programmes which we're going to be talking about later that are on the BBC. So actually I think it's not bad value, though I think there should be an opt-out. Nowadays with technology, you should be able to opt out, and therefore your devices within your home not to receive the BBC at all.
Well, it's very
I'm
easy.
sure
You
they
just
can
don't have
do
the
that.
iPlayer.
Well, no,
The device
but
can't receive the BBC
No,
unless
I'm
it's
not
got the
saying.
iPad
I'm
on
saying
it.
that the BBC, there must be a technological way that they can stop their things being transmitted to a particular house.
No, it doesn't work like that nowadays. It all comes down a cable.
Well, that's what I mean.
It would be exactly like a streaming service. You would pay for it. A streaming service.
No, I get that. Yeah.
That's all they would need to do.
Yeah, but
give people the choice.
It is obviously free access as well. You know, that's the odd thing. It's supposed to be partly free access, and then you also pay for it. But
well, it's not free access because you have to pay for a TV license.
You pay for a license which gives you various things, but there are certain things that are also available for free.
Anyway, God. So, yeah, awful April. And of course, in the USA, Mr. Trump has introduced the tariffs.
So, yes, Trump tariffs have come in from
You've got a few thoughts about
orange
this,
idiot.
haven't you?
Yeah, I've always had thoughts since he said about this and started doing it in his first reign of America.
So tell us, Paul, what is the master plan? What do you think is really going on?
This is all happening to make the rich richer, basically.
Okay.
That is all that is happening.
How does that work, Paul?
Because when people talk about tariffs, like the President of the United States of America, and it's so galling to actually call the orange idiot
just get on with it.
And what happens is it has jitters in the market. That's what it creates. It creates jitters in the market. The markets drop. And this happened about 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, when he was talking about Canada and Mexico and bringing in tariffs. It came down. The stock markets fell. And then what happens, of course, is people with money can go in and buy cheaper stock because the stock of companies has been depressed. And of course, then he says, "Oh, actually, we're not going to slap these tariffs on people. We're going to think about it a bit more." And up goes the share price of these big companies, and then the rich people can sell, and they've made that significant amount of profit in a very short space of time. And that's exactly what he's done in this latest sort of barrage of tariffs. It's depressed the American stock market and the stock market around the world, all of them, because of the trade war that's going to ensue, because it is going to ensue. And that has already lost $2 trillion off the stock market in America. And of course, then people can go in, rich people can go in, buy stock that's depressed. Then he says, actually, we're going to be doing this we're going to be doing a trade deal with America, with the UK and with other countries that lifts the stock market, and then that $2 trillion can go into rich people's pockets because it'll just bounce back up.
Okay, so tell me this. Why was a stock market crash when it crashed by 23%, down to 23%? Why is that called a stock market crash when this actually caused it to drop down to 17%?
Well, it is. It's all part of
But why are they not calling this a crash?
Because there's an awful lot of pressure being put on the big corporates that own all the media in the world, huge amount of media in the world, you know, the Murdoch empires, all of them, to not talk in that way.
Okay.
You know, when you have America saying that when Trump gives a press conference, they're only going to allow the press that are beneficial or talk beneficially about Trump, that's basically fraud.
Yeah,
it's frauding.
All right.
So, yeah. So there we are, Trump tariffs. And we know already, because the business minister in the UK was on Radio 4 the other day, there's already a deal that is almost rubber stamped between the US and the UK. The only holding up point is chlorinated chicken. So
anyway,
there we are.
Lovely. Meanwhile, in Birmingham, UK, the streets smell of rubbish. Yeah, piles and piles of rubbish everywhere because the bin men have gone on strike and clearly they can't reach a resolution. Birmingham decided to declare a state of emergency or a major incident, and I believe still nothing has happened. I mean, what year are we in?
Well, exactly.
1654?
Yeah.
No,
well,
I don't think we
1973, wasn't it the
Well,
same thing in 1973?
In the 70s, London had that issue.
Yeah, yeah. So
I
again,
mean, really,
it's what is happening is money is being siphoned out of society and it's going to the rich. And what's happening is everybody else who isn't rich, they are seeing their living standards drop and drop and drop.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? So, and of course now we're in the Easter holidays.
We are, yes.
Aren't we? Joy for Easter, for eggs and
Bunnies.
and little chicks and chocolate.
And of course, when I go to my allotment now, I do a little dance on the pavements as I go down, because there's an awful lot of children taking their dogs out for walks, and they tend not to pick up what the dog leaves
Holidays, the
behind.
parents send the kids out with the dogs and they don't pick up.
Yeah.
This is what happens every holiday.
So you need to watch where you're stepping.
Oh, it's disgusting, isn't it? So yes, hopefully new life will come upon the land and the Easter message will be heard across the nation.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
May chocolate be eaten everywhere.
Well, I think there will be a lot of celebration in certain societies and countries if at Easter, when the 12th of April sort of Simpsons bit comes true.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Google Simpsons 12th of April. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? Okay, so that's good. So we won't be going anywhere in the next 2 weeks because everywhere will be overrun with screaming children.
Yeah.
Which we don't like.
No, we don't.
So no change there then?
No, we keep away from crowds and we keep away from crowds and children, yeah.
So it's now time for two other things. A quick blast of the almanac.
Because we're obviously in April.
Thank you for getting the almanac, Paul, and marking it with April. Just to add extra time to the video.
It's all my fault.
A quick look at what is in store for April. Okay. Sunshine showers. Yeah, well that's
April
usual
showers.
for April showers. Easter. Where's this summary? Oh, there we are. It was April Fool's Day, of course.
It was, yes.
The Passover, the Jewish Passover festival, feast, or whatever they call it. Palm Sunday. Saint Tiburtius's Day, the day cuckoos traditionally start singing.
Oh.
Good Friday, which of course is the bank holiday. Easter Sunday, Easter Monday, St. George's Day, and the start of British asparagus season.
Yeah, yeah.
How lovely.
Only a few weeks away.
So let's just see if there's any highlights. Full moon in Libra. Balance and simply be. Super new moon in Taurus. Embolden and embody. Don't know what that means. Gardening by the month. Well, there's lots of things going on.
Lots of seed sowing this month. Lots of seed sowing. In fact, I'll be sowing tomatoes, cucumbers, all of that very, very soon. Beetroot today, though.
So in terms of the sky, Jupiter's going to be very bright in the evening. Mars is still viewable. Venus and Saturn still unobservable.
And Uranus?
I don't know about that. Okay, lovely. No more of that. There's too much going on. Let's see. Quick, Richard, quick, get to it. What's the date today? Broadcast date is...
The 6th
6th
of April.
Avril. Defatigable.
Well, there's indefatigable and there's defatigable.
DEFATIGABLE. If you are prone to tiredness, and these days who isn't? That wasn't me saying it, that was the book. You may find it reassuring to know that it is all part of the cosmic plan. Ooh. At least according to the theologian Joseph Glanville, who in his Lux Orientalis of 1662 explained, we were made on set purpose defatigable, that so all degrees of life may have their exercise. From the Latin for able to be tired out. Defatigable is, of course, the opposite of indefatigable, which paradoxically appears earlier in the record, but happily earlier than what we find in 1533, the active verb defatigate, to exhaust oneself or others. There we go. That's word of the week. Done.
I thought defatigate was when you lose weight so that you can get through a narrow sort of opening.
Well, think about the word for tired in French. Fatigue. Fatigue.
Fatigue.
Yeah, that's what we are. A couple of fatigues. Okay. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Okay, so television. What have we watched on television this week, Paul? What have we watched? Well, we've started Ellis.
Yes.
With Sharon
D. Clark.
Yeah, that was quite good. I'm getting to the stage at the moment that I'm getting simply tired of all television.
He is.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of tuning out from TV. I don't know why I'm just not interested in any television, really, apart from Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, therefore I'm not allowed to be interested in television either.
Well, no, I'm just going to take myself off and start doing other things in the evening.
Well, we can do other things in the evenings. Of course, we've got an extra hour of light now.
Well, and the rest.
So we could both go down to the plot after supper and we could do some seed sowing and some digging and...
You're not supposed to do those kind of things after eating, Paul,
Well,
with your Barrett's esophagus.
Well, you could, though.
I won't, though.
Well, you could have a later supper and you could get down there and do a couple of hours of work each evening.
That suggestion doesn't work for me, but I love that journey for you. We've started Bosch Legacy on Prime.
Yeah, Ellis was on Channel 5.
Bosch Legacy on Prime.
Now, this is the final series. Of course, there was Bosch, which started, and now there's Bosch Legacy.
Yeah.
And I think it's good. I think it's good, but I think it's good that it's the last series. Yeah.
We watched Michael Portillo's Portugal.
Yeah.
On Channel 5. Again, I'm kind of getting a bit tired of watching these format programs because they're all essentially the same, just with different places and visuals.
I think the train one is quite interesting because you do go from stop to stop and therefore you're restricted by where trains go. And of course through Europe there's quite a lot of trains. But the Portugal one is sort of, it feels as though he wanted a holiday with a bit of filming in between.
Yeah, okay.
That's what it felt like.
We watched Digging for Britain on
BBC Two. That was really interesting this week because there was a farmer whose family had been growing in this on a big farm in this particular field for decades, for I think possibly centuries, and then suddenly they noticed something, and underneath was a Roman mosaic, and they'd been ploughing this field and growing in this field, but the mosaic was about a foot and a half below the surface of the soil. So, you know, it's interesting it hadn't been turned up
sooner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
It was good, actually. We watched Have I Got News for You on BBC One again, a bit of a yawn-orama.
Well, I thought it had some very funny moments.
It had a couple of funny moments.
Yeah, it did. But, I do miss Angus Dayton. I think he was brilliant at presenting that. There aren't many who are good at presenting it. There are a couple.
I thought his name was pronounced Deaton. Angus Deaton.
Angus Deaton then.
Yes.
Yeah, Angus Deaton,
Get it
not
right.
Dayton. Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
We
I got that wrong, you
finished
see.
the
Always
paranormal show, which I enjoyed because I like that kind of trash. You didn't really enjoy it because you did other things while that was on.
I did.
Reading and looking at your phone.
I did. The presenter doesn't get it. She just doesn't do it for me.
No.
You know, she always keeps. I said this last week. To be honest, you know, or she uses all these stock phrases, and yeah, doesn't work for me.
Okay.
And then, of course, we carried on with Schitt's Creek and Heart to Heart. We're getting to the end of Schitt's Creek now, series 6. I think we've only got about another 4 or 5 episodes to go. And then that will be bye-bye Netflix after that.
Yeah, I'm not paying for Netflix anymore.
Yeah.
Can't afford it.
So that's going.
We have to cut down on these absolute luxuries. Paul. Really, that's what they are.
Well, all these things are becoming luxuries because, as we said earlier, you know, the costs of just the basic goods that you need just keep on rising. And because people have restricted incomes,
That's it. So that's it for this week's show.
Sunday chat!
We've got shit to do, need to get on.
Thought we needed to get the name of the show in there.
We have a heist guest. Oh, didn't we say Sunday chat then?
Sunday chat!
Oh, do it again.
No, we
And
didn't.
Again. No, we've got a house guest. My niece is coming to stay with us. So, need to get on and make sure things are done.
She's doing her portraiture of animals at Chiswick, an event at Chiswick, on Sunday. So it'll be lovely to see her later. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Sophie Stock Art. I'll put a link in the description below. So thanks for watching. Yet again, another episode in the bag
Of
Sunday Chat.
Sunday Chat! Get 3 in there. Yeah.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.